talent challenge in emerging markets, what will it take to really close the skills gap? Well, here to share the Brazilian experience with us is Mauro Aguiar, who's president of, and I will ask you to help me out here, the correct pronunciation of the college that you represent in Brazil.
Bandeirantes.
Okay. You know, the conversations in a lot of the emerging countries, Brazil, India included, is about the talent gap. Your focus is on basic, primary, secondary education. And what have you found? What have the learnings been as Brazil copes with this challenge?
Brazil did a big mistake in the last century. We did not invest in primary and secondary education. We invest in higher education, and higher education for elite people. This is one of the main reasons that we have a fantastic inequality in our country. This is the same for the most of Latin American countries. We have done better since 1995.
Because there's been a focus on
basic education.
On basic education, but I suppose it's always a bit of a catch-up game.
Yes.
Has there been a dramatic change in policy or institutions that will accelerate this change?
Yes, the government, the federal government, the state government, the local government are trying to change the situation. But we are behind the developed countries. We began late, in the end of the last century. Right. We have to run a lot to catch up. Not only the developed country, but a country as Korea. If you think that Brazil, until 1970, Brazil was ahead of Korea, and now we lose in the industry lane. We lose the run.
Is there a measure of the kind of attention that education is getting, just in terms of budgetary increases? The government spending, has it dramatically increased on the education skill development front?
Yes, the Brazilian Constitution obliges the federal government to invest 12% of all income tax in education. But we still invest more in higher education than in basic education. In the state level and in the local level, we are investing about 20% of the local tax in basic education. Okay. And we are improving.
Okay. Do you visit India often? Do you observe some of the attempts being made in India? For instance, the National Skill Development Corporation, which is really trying to harness all the skill development efforts in the country. And is there any learning from India for Brazil, or very different set of circumstances?
It's my first time in India. I don't know why the system is really working here. But I think that Brazil has an experience that is possible to export. We have some big private groups that systematize the learning system and sell this program to not only to private schools all over the country, but to local governments. And it's more easy because, you know, in a huge country as Brazil, as India, as China, you have millions of teachers, and it's impossible to train to prepare.
And to have a standard level of training for all of them. One final question, and that is really, one approach to undo the neglect of basic education is to focus on vocational training for a workforce that is employable but doesn't have the basic education fundamentals in place. Is there a push on that side as well, just skills development rather than the core education as we know it, or the higher education as we know it?
I think that the vocational education, as we have in the last century, doesn't work anymore.
It doesn't work anymore. So
Brazil set up a powerful industry if you compare with the countries in the third world. But in that time it was possible to take a person and did a training, a vocational education.
But now it no longer is viable.
Now it's impossible.
Okay, on that note, a somewhat somber note, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.